Okay, so hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Ashar Ijaz. I'm the CEO of Knowfly, and today I'm going to host and teach this workshop. With me is Laiba Mubin and Subhan from
Hi
Knowfly's
everyone.
team, who would be,
Hello, hello,
moderating this
hello.
workshop. Okay, so can everybody please tell me if you guys can hear me all right, and if I'm not lagging and everything, and then we will start.
Yeah, we can hear you fine, Asher.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Let me just figure one thing out more. Okay. Okay. So, last time we talked a lot about typography and we talked a lot about the color theory, right? And today, we are going to talk about a lot of things. Mainly, we would be learning some web designing terminologies, which are really important for you to know in order to communicate with a web developer professionally, because let's say if somebody's like, okay, build this nav bar for me, and you are like, bro, what is nav bar? It feels really really bad, right? So we are going to cover a lot of examples of terminologies, and I'm going to show examples to you people of each thing, like what's a nav bar, what's a footer, what's a header, what's a hero section, what's a landing page, what's a card, what's a breadcrumb, all that stuff, right? Just remember one thing: you guys don't have to memorize anything. Uh, so please don't be like, okay, I have to memorize it. I'll send you guys the links, or whatever websites I'm going to visit today. I'll send all the links, and as we will continue to practice in future with projects and everything, it's going to get memorized automatically, so you don't have to memorize anything right now. So please don't stress about that thing. Yeah, but anyways, so yeah, first thing we are going to cover today is consistent designing and design system. This was something that should have been covered in the last class, but we went like way over time, and we were like, okay, we shouldn't punish you guys further. So these are the two topics that I'm going to quickly cover the basics of. We are not going to, um, go much in detail about them because they are like really advanced topics. And as we will progress, we will automatically, talk more about them and learn more about them. So yeah. Second thing would be some terminologies. What's a navigation bar? What's a hero section, header, footer, landing page? That all that stuff. Other than that, we are going to learn about responsive designing. What is responsive designing, and what are breakpoints in responsive designing, and all that stuff. I'll going to show you examples of what's a non-responsive design and what's a responsive design. Okay. Then we are going to talk a little bit about some image formats, which are SVGs and PNGs, and why they matter, why you should have some sort of knowledge about them, and why and where you are going to use them. Then we are also going to talk about what's accessibility of a website. It's a term that you are going to hear a lot. And as a professional designer, you should have really good knowledge about it. So yeah, it's a whole field in itself, how to make a website more accessible. I'm not talking about SEO, by the way. It's something else. So we are going to learn about a little bit about it as well. Then we are going to learn how you can practice designing, like what's cheating in designing and what's taking inspiration in designing, that thing. And lastly, not oh wait, not lastly. Okay, so yeah, I'm also going to show like code live with you guys, and going to show you what's this CSS box model thing. Just so you understand padding, margin, outlines, borders, and all that stuff much more. And then we will talk about a little bit about what is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, what is front end development, what is back end development, what does coding look like, all that stuff, just so you know you have some knowledge about how to communicate with a web developer or any sort of software developer, right? Because a designer, especially a UI UX designer and a web developer, has to work like a lot with each other. They have to, they have to talk with each other daily. They have to design and make decisions together. So it's it's really good to know or have some knowledge about web development as well. And then lastly, we are going to talk about what is a wireframe, and I'm going to build a little, a little website, just a wireframe of it. You guys already have some idea what's a wireframe, but we are going to officially introduce it. Yeah. So um, hmm. Okay. So I had asked everybody to make accounts on Figma. Um, because in case if all these topics that I've told are covered like much quickly or within the time and we still have some free time, then I'm going to start a little bit of applied Figma. But yeah, let's see. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about consistent designing. Um, hmm, Let me share my screen really quickly. Okay, yeah, here you go. Okay, so can you guys see my screen right now? Like, can you see this heading named consistent designing and these two frames? You guys can. Okay, awesome. Okay, so just to give you a bit of overview, we talked about this whole typography um, and this colors thing as well, right? So I'm just going to, talk a little bit about why consistent designing matters and why it is important. So I'll just start with a visual example. Let's say I told you to build a very simple website which will have a nav bar. What's a nav bar? Nav bar is this thing where you have this options to navigate to other pages of your website. What does that mean? Can I go to home page from this navbar thing? Yes, I can. Can I go to about page? Yes, I can. Can I go to the sign in page? Yes, I can. So it's allowing me to navigate through the website, right? That's why we call this a nav bar or navigation bar, uh, if you want to call it formal. Anyways, so if you are a beginner and you know nothing about consistency, but you just know about typography right now, you would, or a little bit about color theory as well, you would just build something like this, right? Maybe if you have a really good eye for designs, you might, make something better, but it would have some sort of inconsistency. Now, the problem with inconsistency is it destroys all the aesthetics of your website. Each and every modern website you would visit, it's have, you know, all sorts of consistency. Now, how do you build consistency in designing? See, there are four things mainly. Uh, there are five things. I'll just add one more, which is consistent spacing, right? Sorry. Yeah. So the first thing is correct typefaces in correct places. We talked about what were typefaces. It were, font families. We talked about sans serif. We talked about serifs. We talked about display fonts, and we also talked about script fonts, right? So what we had talked about was whenever there is a headline. Now this is a headline, right? It's a really big text that's communicating something with us. So this is a headline, or you can also call this a title. Anyways, so the mistake I have done here is I have used a serif font for this. Uh, if you guys notice that this font has unequal widths, right? So it's a serif font. If it would have been a sans serif font, it would have equal widths. But just if you just to test, if you guys remember what we taught in the first class, what type of typeface would we use for this headline or title instead of, serif or sans serif? Can you guys just, tell me in the chat what typeface would we use? Okay. Just think about it a little. I'll just name all the typefaces so that you remember it. First was serif, sans serif, display fonts, script fonts, and then the last one was monospace. Okay. Okay, so here's the thing. See, we always use display fonts or script fonts for headlines or titles. That's what we taught here. If you just go to the notes here in the yeah, here. See, in under display fonts, told you guys these fonts are used to grab attention, mostly used for big headlines and titles in web design. So we always use display fonts. You can also use script fonts. They are good. They are you can call them a kind of display fonts, but they are more imitating handwriting. So they can also be used, right? So a simple change of just using the correct typeface makes a huge difference. And if I just slide over here, which one looks better, right? This one, right? I have used this lobster script font here for the headline. So you can see it immediately makes the aesthetics of the website much better. This is why those rules are there. So yeah, you have to use correct typefaces in correct places. One more example I'm going to show you is, okay, so I mentioned one more thing that whenever we have some sort of descriptive text or paragraph text, what type of typeface would we use? Come on, guys, tell me. It's okay if you guys will answer wrong, because it's all about learning. I don't expect you to learn like, okay, yeah. So some are saying sans serif, some are saying serif. Here's the thing: we talked that serifs are like really old kind of text. So we always use sans serif for descriptive or for headings or for paragraphs, right? So yeah, sans serif would make much more sense. If I just like slide this over, you can see the heading is in sans serif font, which is called Inter. It's a really good sans serif font. So yeah, the heading is in the sans serif, the paragraph is in the sans serif. So it looks much more better if you just look at this, right? Okay, so yeah, one more thing. If you look at this heading, again, there's a problem with it. It's because we are using a display font here, or you can say our script font here for a heading. And we strictly advised you to not do this because sans serif is much better to use in a heading, right? So yeah, there you go. One last thing. Okay, so let's talk about consistent fonts now. So what we see here, one more problem here is there are like lots of font types, lots of typefaces here, right? Font types, I mean there's this font called Abril Fat Face, then we have this font called Gabriela, then we have this font called Enter, then we have this font called Pacifico, and again Enter. So there are like more than 3 to 4 types of fonts, right? This is something really bad. We never ever use more than 2 or 3 types of fonts, right? If you look at this one here, what I have done is I have used this display font for the main headline, which is Lobster, right? One. And for everything else, for these headings, for these description text, I've used the same font, which is called Inter, and it's a sans serif font. So if you just compare these two, just the heading, just the text part, the consistency, having the same fonts, makes it much more aesthetic and much more beautiful, right? Do you guys think it is making stuff look more beautiful, right? Or no? What do you guys think? Yep. Okay. Thank you. So let's talk about the third thing, which is consistent font size. Now, what does consistent font size mean? What I mean by this is if you are having a headline, if you are having multiple headlines in your, web page, you should have the same font size for this, for all the headlines, right? If you are having multiple headings, you should have same font size for all the headings. If you have multiple descriptive or paragraph text, you should have same font size for all of them. Now, if we see here, this text is like much larger, which is like 30. Yeah, it's 30 pixel. But if you look at this, it's 25 pixel. So it's a major turn off in aesthetics right there, right? But if you look at this one, it has the same font size for the paragraph, for the headings. So it's consistent, right? So you should always have same font size for same elements. Please do not get confused that you have to use same font size for headings, headlines, paragraphs. I'm not saying this. I'm saying if there is a headline and there are multiple headlines, all the headlines should have same font size. If there are multiple headings, all the headings should have same font size. If there are multiple, uh, paragraph text, all these paragraph text should have same uh, font size. So yeah, that's the third way of making stuff consistent. Fourth way is having consistent colors. Now, if you look at this, I had a heading of, like white color, and then I had this heading which is red. Now, it immediately looks really bad. Now, whatever color I put here, even if I put something like green here, it still looks really off, right? So you always have to, maintain consistency with colors as well. If I'm making this one heading green, I should be making this another heading green as well. If I'm making this paragraph text white, I should have this paragraph text as white as well. So yeah, there's the consistency in these colors as well. And now, obviously, I'm going to have this. Uh, we should have consistent spacing as well, but I don't think this is like a really good example for spacing. But again, I'm going to show you something. Now, if I just go to the snap bar and I select this sign in, right? And if I do this, now it doesn't have consistent spacing between all these buttons, right? Home and about is of different padding, but the padding between about and sign in is like really large. So it's not consistent, right? If we go here, all these, you know, buttons have these consistent spacing. So you always have to, again, have the same spacing. This applies to all types of spacing. If you remember what types of spacings were there, let me just show you. Okay. Yeah, so here it is. We had margin, we had padding, we had line height, we had breathing space, and we had font size sizing, like not font sizing, but the width of the text. How many characters you can fit in a single line, right? So there were four types of spacings that we talked about. So please always keep them consistent as well. Okay. Okay, so can everybody tell me if you guys have understood the whole consistent part uh, really well, as or should I, repeat something? Breathing space. Okay, I'll talk about breathing space. That uh, you just joined, bro. How will you be clear? Okay, okay, I just spent 20 minutes talking about it. Mm. You can cover this consistent part in the recording. I'll upload it on YouTube. Okay. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about why the nav bar has changed. So if you guys remember, Laba talked about this thing called contrast, shading, and all that stuff, right? So this nav bar here is like, it's a bit, annoying to differentiate between this white and green here, this, thick green. So if you look here, which is this transparent sort of translucent light green um, color. This is, by the way, light green, if you cannot notice, but it's more towards white. Yeah, this looks much more smarter. Now, why did I change this whole rectangle thing into this um, rounded rectangle? It's just aesthetics, it's it's like a modern design. It just looks better, but for some it won't. But it's like, it imitates more like, the navbar of a MacBook, if you have seen it, the at the bottom, or or you can also take examples of mobile phones. You would also see navbar like these in mobile phones. There's this rounded thing. I don't remember. I think used to be in iPhones. Yeah, I think it used to be at iPhones as well. But yeah, mm, anyways, so yeah, yeah, it looks more modern still. Exactly. Anyways, so there we go about the consistent designing. Um, I'll just quickly cover something about breathing space, because I think I didn't cover it, but yeah, breathing space, as the name suggests, is a phenomena that says you should, leave the space for the elements to breathe. Okay. What does it mean? What it means is, if you just look at this design, this is a graphic design, by the way. I had this heading dopamine detox. I had this heading 15 days challenge on 5th June. And then I had left some breathing space on left and right. If I would have, enlarged it so much that there's really low breathing space on their side, it would have looked really bad, right? So similarly, if you look at the spacing between, spacing on the upper side and on the lower side of this whole group of text, there's breathing space there as well. If I would have, done something to, stretch it and just cover the whole height and leave no breathing space between the elements, then again, it would have looked really bad. So this whole green lines you see are breathing space, and they are always used to give much more aesthetic to the design. You know, uh, uh, like if there's too many things going on in a design, nobody likes it. So we just have to give breathing space between elements. That's what the whole concept is about. Um, yeah, and it all also improves readability. If there's like so many things, right after each other, it's really difficult to read all of them. So yeah, this is why we have breathing spaces. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is all about consistent designing and okay, let's talk about design system now. What's a design system? Okay, so design system consists of things that you are going to use multiple times in your design. If we look at these designs, even what are the stuff that I'm using multiple times? I'm using these fonts multiple times. If we look at the good design, right? We are using this same sort of fonts, font sizing, font coloring, and all that stuff, right? We are using it multiple times. Now imagine you have a project that is so big, like it has like hundreds of screens like these, right? Uh, it's like really confusing, and just imagine that you are a new web designer in that company and you are given this 100 page of design and you are like, and they told you to design this new thing, this new page, right? And then you are confused, like how do I make sure that the design is consistent? I cannot just check the whole all the 100 pages, like what fonts are used, what font sizes are there, and all that stuff. It would be so much time taking. So to uh, have a design system, the reason for it is it just makes people life easier. It's much more quicker to understand what type of design system we are using. So we have typography in it, we have colors in it, we also have certain elements in it. If, for example, um, for some reason, if I had a triangle here, I'll just quickly show one example. Hmm. If I had a triangle here, and yeah, and I'm bringing the design right now, but just I'm trying to make a point. Okay, so if I had this sort of about Knowfly thing in this in a box, so I would have also included this whole thing, this whole card, as we say, in a design system as well, because we are going to use it multiple times. We are going to also use it here and then. Um, uh, and all these similar headings and paragraphs. So anything that is repeated a lot, we just put it in a design system, so the new people or even the old designers who have designed everything should have stuff lined up, like really clearly. They know what to do, they know how, where to take the colors from, where to take the typefaces from, what fonts we are using, and all that stuff really quickly. So this is a really basic design system for this website, where I have put what font I'm using and what font size I'm using for headlines, right? Then I have said, okay, if there is a large heading, I would use a bold heading of 100 size, of 100 font size. Then if there is a small heading, I would use this bold font called Poppins at 70 pixel size. And then there's if there is a descriptive text, there's this medium font of Poppins of 40 size. So yeah, there you go. Now, if we talk about colors, the thing about colors is we have uh, this design system for colors as well, because you always have to make sure that your colors are consistent in the whole design as well. It shouldn't be like one page is red and yellow and the second page is black and green. It looks really off, right? So to always have a design, to always have the same consistent colors, you should make colors design system like this as well. Like, okay, if there's a main background, you would use this specific color. If there's a secondary background of, or if you want to put text over the main background, or if you want to put an element like a rectangle, square, or anything over the main background, which is this one, then you should use this color. If you are the secondary choice for putting text on main background is also this one, which is white, And then again, if you wanna, if you wanna use a text over the secondary background, which was this bright green, then you can use this dark green thing. So stuff like this is all under a design system. Please let me know if you guys have understood what I just said. Okay. Are these colors predetermined? Yes, they are predetermined. You have to, you just have to make a rough design first and see what colors appeal you more and what colors are associating with your brand. You just have to do all, multiple colorings, and then decide what colors looks really good, and then you just create a design system out of it. By the way, we also have a complete design system for Knowfly as well. Our design system is we always use pop-ins for headings, and for descriptive text, pop-ins is a sans serif font. We always use Lobster or Pacifico for headlines or big titles. And you guys must have also saw that we have this consistent coloring in our website as well. It's green, black, and all that stuff, right? So we have a color system as well, and that's how we create a proper design system for no fly as well. You guys might actually get a quiz, but not an assignment right now. Assignment should be in the next class when we would teach practical Figma. Then you guys would. Uh, okay, no fly. Please don't fire me for telling secrets. अगर क्विज फेल हो गया, आपकी पेरेंट्स को कॉल की जाएगी. We will tell them your child failed. Okay. Anyways, and they would be like, "What? What was the test even about?" Okay. Anyways, yeah. So design system is clear as far as I could see. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. So let's talk about our next topic, which is web terminologies. Okay. For this, I'll just use an example of a website, which is Stripe. It's a really, really beautifully made website, like really amazing designers. Hmm. Okay, so what's a nav bar? We talked about what's a nav bar. Nav bar allows you to navigate to different pages in the website. Now, is it like really important that the nav bar should always be on the top? For web designing, we have this standard that it's always going to be on the top because it's much easier for your mouse to reach. Like if you ever think about where's the default position of my mouse, it's mostly towards the top or towards the middle, right? um but it's like really annoying to go drag your mouse completely down to navigate. That's why for web designing we always keep it on the top, the whole navigation bar. But when we talk about app designing, the whole thing changes. Then we are like, no, the navigation bar should always be at the bottom. If you have used Instagram, if you have used Facebook, I think no, just Instagram, or like a lot of apps, all of them have the navigation bars at the bottom, because bottom is the space that's easier to reach in a mobile phone by your finger, right? It's like really hard to reach at the top of your mobile phone rather than the bottom of your mobile phone. That is why we put the navigation bar at the bottom. By the way, all this stuff comes under UX designing that we are going to cover in the fifth session. It's going to be a really really interesting class. I'm really excited about it. Yeah. So yeah, this is an F bar. As we talked now, another terminology I want you guys to get familiar with is what is a footer. Now, footer is always at the bottom of a website, and it has a very similar purpose as navbar, but it has more quicker link access to all the pages on the of the website. Like if you just look at the navbar, it has like whatever. Okay, so whatever website or web pages you can go through it, you can also go through it through the footer, right? If I look for another example, which is apple.com, they always have a footer at the bottom as well. If you just drag it, yeah, there you go, there's the footer, right? So footer is this whole thing which contains links again, and sometimes it has text on copyrights and some laws and all that stuff. Then yeah, all of that is on the footer. Like if you just read this thing as well, copyright and this thing, yeah, that's because of legal purposes. So anything that involves legal purposes sometimes go in the footer, and mainly it's just links to everywhere on your page, like every web page on your website. Okay, is navbar and footer clear to you guys? Okay, awesome. Let's talk about what is a hero section. It's not Salman Khan picture, by the way. Anyways, so yeah, hero section is something like if I open this stripe.com, right? The first screen I see under the navbar is what like is a hero section. This whole thing, which has this heading financial infrastructure for the internet, and it has a mobile device, and it has this tablet sort of device as well. This whole thing is called hero section. So the first landing screen that you see on your website or on any web page is called a hero section. Now, if I go to the payment section, now, yeah, this whole thing that you see, the first thing you see under the navigation bar, under the nav bar, again, a hero section, right? So stuff like this is called the hero section. Okay, it's not a landing page. I'll tell you guys what's a landing page. This is just hero section. Who came up with these? These are like, you know what? I'll tell you the importance of why you should know these examples. Now, let's say you want to design your website, right? And you want to know how the other ideas that people had about their hero section of the website. And just imagine you didn't knew this terminology. Now, how would you search about? Like, how would you search? Uh, Even more difficult example would be a footer. Like, footer is at the bottom of the website, right? What would you search on Google? How to design the bottom of my website? That would just give you, weird results, right? So these terminologies are important because, like if I just search here, uh, hero sections example of website, I can see huge, like a lot of websites immediately. If you just look at this, right? If I say, okay, I don't want a hero section now, I want footer example of websites, and I go to the images, I can see what I want immediately, right? So another thing is, you can search for things much easily, right? Other than communicating about it with your um colleagues. So yeah. Hmm. Can you clear hero section more? Hero section just the first screen you see when you land on a website. If I just go even on knowfly.org, which is like a really bad website right now, but we are going to change it. Anyways, the first screen that you see, this whole thing, this whole diagram, sorry, this whole picture and this whole text and this button under the nav bar. This whole thing is called a hero section. If I go to apple.com, this first screen that you see about MacBook Air, that's a hero section. If I go to stripe.com, the first screen that you will see containing this heading, financial infrastructure, and mobile and device and all that stuff, that's a hero section. Okay. Footer is this one. The navigation sort of bar you see at the end, right? Okay. Hmm. Okay, so we are clear about nav bar, footer, hero section. Let's talk about what's a landing page now, right? Landing page is the first page of your website uh, that contains all the information or is the main web page of your website. Let's say if I go to knowfly.org, this is my landing page. This whole web page is my landing page. It tells me what Knowfly is about, what Knowfly is building, when it's going to launch, right? If I go to, let's say, stripe.com again, the first whole page is the landing page. It tells me summary of everything that a Stripe do, right? It's the main web page of a website, right? So yeah. But if I go to products and then payments, is this a landing page as well then? No, it's not. It's not a landing page because specifically talking about a feature. It's not talking about Stripe as a whole. So landing page is, you know, like this. But let me give you another example. Let's say you are a company which has multiple products. Let's take example of Google, right? Google has these products of Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google um, Sites, and all that stuff, right? Now, if I just visit Google Docs, let's say, right? And if I go to this website, even though this is a sub page, right? It's a sub page of Google. It's a product of a Google, and it's talking about something is specific. This thing is again a landing page because it's telling me about Google Docs as a whole. Are you trying to like? Do you guys get what I'm trying to say? No, no. See, hero section is the first screen that you see, and landing page is the whole web page. This whole web page, right? Okay, so let me give you guys another example. Yeah. So yeah. Now if you see this page, which was this landing page, right? But if I go to the teams section or to the post section, is this a landing page now? No, it doesn't tell me about Knowfly or anything about its specific product. So that's not a landing page. This FAQ page is not a landing page. Now tell me, is this team page a landing page? Is this team page a landing page? Okay. No, it's not. Because it's not telling me anything about the products and like everything about Knowfly in something or anything about its specific product, right? It's just a team page. It's not a landing page, right? Yeah, it's telling about the teams, but it's not telling about the company. It's not a main web page. Would you ever give this web page as the main web page to anybody? You can think about it as that if your friends ask about a product and you send him a link of a website, would you ever send him a team section of a website? If you won't, then it's not a landing page. Okay? Again, yeah. Would I give this website to Knowfly.org to somebody? Yeah, I would, because it's a landing page. Now, if I specifically talk about insider community, would I give, like, if someone is asking me about insiders community, would I give this website to them, insider.knowfly.org? Would I give something, this website to them? Yes. Yeah. So this is a landing page. Okay. You can understand it like this as well, like much easy. Okay. So we have covered landing page as well here. Okay, let's talk about what's a header. Now, header and navigation bar are sort of interchangeable terms here, because header is something that's at the very, very top of your screen. This whole top part of your screen is called a header. And inside that header, we have this navigation bar, right? We have all these buttons, these logos, and all that stuff. So this is a header. If I go to apple.com, this black line that you would see, or this white line that you would see containing all this stuff, that's a header, right? So header and navbar are kind of the same thing in web designing. But if we talk about app designing, where the navigation bar is at the bottom, then that's not the header, right? Header is still the top, the very top part of the website. And if you just look at this, like if you look at this announcement, save on Mac or iPad with education pricing, right? This is not a part of the nav bar, but it is a part of the this whole top thing, right? This is a part of a header as well. So the whole, like the first top part is called a header. Am I clear about header now? Can everybody tell me if I'm clear about headers? Oh, damn. Okay, awesome. Okay, so then let's talk about what's responsive designing. Now let's talk about what's responsive designing. Hmm. Okay, let's talk a bit of background before actually talking about responsive designing. When we talk about the era before 2000s, or the era before 2005, there used to be really, really little amounts of mobile devices, if any at all, right? Nobody used to use mobile devices like where you could access the internet, the web, right? So the main the main tool that you would use to access websites was a computer or a laptop, right? Am I right, guys? If you talk about 90s, you could only visit a website through a laptop or a computer, right? Exactly. So this was the reason that at that time we only and only used to design websites thinking that it's going to be only used on big screens, on screens that have huge widths, right? A mobile screen, if I give, this is a mobile, right? It has a really, really, small sort of width. But if I talk about your laptop that you might be using to watch this whole workshop or course, it has much larger width, right? So yeah, we used to, only and only design websites for larger width screens or for large screens. And then iPhone got released, and people went crazy about mobile devices. And from there and then, we were like, okay, people are actually visiting our websites from mobile devices as well. So now we have to actually design websites that look great on mobile devices as well, right? Am I right, guys? Yeah, yeah. Okay. So then we saw another sort of devices. As we progressed through the years, we saw iPads coming up. We saw these uh tablets coming up, Android tablets. So that was a different screen size as well. They were something in between of a desktop or a laptop and some and a mobile device, right? They were something in between, and a lot of people were visiting website with tablets now. So we were like, okay, now we have to design websites for tablets as well, right? So just due to these changes, then as we progressed more, we saw that mobile devices are having different widths now. Some mobile are large, some mobile are small, some mobile are like thicker, some mobile are thinner, and all that stuff, right? So web designers and web developers said, okay, this is getting way too much out of hand. So what we will do now is we will make our designs responsive. Now, what does responsive mean? Responsive means websites or designs, you can say designs that are looking good on every screen size. Or another definition of it is responsive designing is a way of designing to make your design adaptable to all screen sizes. Now, if I visit Stripe on a mobile phone, if I just give you guys a small example. Okay. If I just go to mm, where is it? Yeah, responsive design mode. If I just go here, now I'm saying, okay, I want to view this website, how it would look like on an iPhone 11 Pro, right? So it's telling me, see, this is how your website would look like on an iPhone. And it's the same website, right? It's the same type.com. I'm not visiting their app. But if I'm like, okay, tell me how this device would look like on is there an iPad here? Let's see. iPad. Yeah, there you go. I do have an iPad. Yeah, here we go. Now, if I see the same website on an iPad, I can still, understand everything. It's not going crazy. The text, the fonts, the designs, everything is like totally perfect. So whatever I do with this, this whole website, it can adapt. Whatever width of my screen is, it can adapt, right? It can adapt to everything. So this is called responsive designing, making your design adaptable to every screen size. Okay. Are you guys clear what is responsive designing? Okay. Now, if I talk about all the website, like let's take example of this website now, which is apple.com. If I just go to responsive designing mode and I just select iPhone 11 Pro Max, can I still understand and view this website design beautifully? Yes, I can, right? I can still, navigate through everything. Yeah, right? It is adaptable. So every modern design, every modern website that we build nowadays should be responsive. If I even give you example of this insiders community website, it's responsive as well. There we go, right? You can still understand everything. You can still see everything. So yeah, there you go. So yeah. This is what responsive designing is. And now, why do you need to know it, right? Why do you need to actually just, even know all of this? It's because if I, show you some example, yeah, there we go. When it's a really old design, I cannot show you the new designs right now because it's not released yet. So yeah, it's confidential. Yeah. So this is how we used to design. We used to design for a screen like a desktop, and then we also used to make designs about how it would look on a mobile phone. If you could see the difference, this is how web designers nowadays design websites. They now don't only have to design for desktop, but for also iPads, for also iPhones, or different mobile devices and all that stuff, right? So yeah, this is responsive designing. Okay, now let's talk about breakpoints. What are breakpoints? I'll give you an example from here. Yeah, from Insider's community website. Okay, let's come here. Yeah. Okay, now if you just see how it will change the structure of this whole design. It's like this, right? There's this one small, then one really long, then there's this on the second row, there's this really long design again, and then there's three containers, right? Now see how it's going to adapt. See, here's what happened. It just went straight, right? It's now one over another. There's nothing there. They are all equal sizes and they are one over another, right? So what I've done is I have added a breakpoint here. I have told my design that if you go under 1024 here, if you just 1024, if you go under this value, you would change to design like this. Now, what is a 1024? It's the width of your screen. If I change the width of the screen, see how the number at the top is changing. It's increasing now. If I decrease it, it's decreasing now. So it's showing the width of your screen. And what breakpoints are? Breakpoints are just, specific values of widths of screen sizes that you define. Like, okay, at 1024, you break this whole design into one by one thing instead of this whole beautiful mixed design, because we cannot adjust it any other way, right? Now if I make it even smaller, yeah, at something like a mobile device, I actually make it more thinner, right? So this is what breakpoints are. Breakpoints are something where you decide what to do, how to make your design responsive now. Am I clear about breakpoints? Yeah, media queries in CSS, exactly. Now, why do you need to know about breakpoints as a web designer? Because when we are developing our websites as a web developer, we are actually okay. Just guys, give me a minute. I'll just connect my charger. Okay. Um, okay. It's still not charging. If my laptop dies, this meeting would, mess up. So just bear with me. Okay, really nice. I just saw that my laptop is in charging and I just went into panic mode. Okay, guys, just give me a minute more. I'll come back. Oh, okay. It's finally charging. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm back. I'm back. I just ran to another room, grabbed an extension. No more snacks. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll start again. Yeah. So I was talking about breakpoints, and I had asked you guys if I'm clear. It's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You guys told me that it's clear. Awesome. Yeah. So breakpoints are done as well. Hmm. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about SVGs and PNGs. No. Yeah. Let's talk about one more thing, actually. I have this website open. I'll send you the link. Uh, I just want you guys to be familiar with different types of containers that we use and what we call them. Okay. So if you have ever, looked at the FAQ section of websites, what actually happens is there's this question, right? And there's this arrow sort of thing. There's a question here, let's say, like, how do I pay? And then you click on it, you see an answer. Okay, you can use this method and this method for payment on our website. And then there's another frequently asked question, and then you click on it, then you see, stuff like this. So this whole sort of container that you guys just saw, this is called an accordion. Okay, you don't have to actually memorize what all this stuff is. Uh, I just want you guys to get familiar with it. Okay, so you know what we might be talking about. Okay. If we talk about alerts, you guys know what alerts are. It's just a pop-up that there's something wrong. So yeah, like if I show live alert, you see, nice, you triggered this message. If I click on this button, so this is an alert. What's a breadcrumb? A breadcrumb is just this. Like if I see home, then library, then data, stuff like this. It's just some sort of a list of something unordered. So yeah, like if I see this home, library, again. So this is a breadcrumb. We barely use it nowadays, but yeah, it's good to know. You know what buttons are. This is what buttons are. Now what's a card? Card is this container, this sort of container. It has an image or it has an heading and title. It's not mandatory for it to have an image. It can be something like this as well. If you go below honor, yeah, this whole thing is a card as well. Okay, so yeah, that's a card. What's a okay? What's a carousel? Okay. Now, if you see something like slideshow, some sort of slideshow, you can something that you can slide like this. That's carousel. Okay. Um. Hmm. Yeah. So anything that slides like this, maybe let me show you some more examples of it, just so you understand it better. Um, yeah, yeah. So, oh, there's a really good example I have in my mind that you guys use every day. Yes. So whenever you visit this whole websites thing, this Netflix app, and you see all these movies like this, and you slide them, this whole slider here as well is also called a carousel. Okay, am I clear about this? No, no, no. For making a functional website, guys, do not actually focus on the code part right now. That's not something you have to worry about at all. Keros. Yeah. Let's see how we pronounce it actually. Okay, I won't hear it because I'm connected to the Zoom. Yeah. Hmm. Anyways, so yeah. Hmm. Okay. One more thing I want you guys to know is drop downs. You must have already known it, but it's like something when you click on it or something when you hover on it, it shows a drop down. Now, if I go to this this apple.com, and I hover on this Mac button, there's a drop down, right? This whole thing that comes Explorer, all Mac, and all that stuff. That's a drop down. That's what we call a drop down. We are going to use this terminologies a lot, uh, and we will force you to memorize it by just saying this again and again and again, so you don't have to worry about memorizing it right now. What's a modal? Modal is a pop-up sort of, like if I click on this button and I see this modal title, woohoo, you are reading this text in a modal. This whole pop-up over the screen, that's a modal again. Okay. Yep. You guys have already seen what's a nav bar. Um, mm, okay. So let's talk about placeholders as well. Have you ever, if I visit youtube.com, yeah, saw this gray things that came while it was loading. Just notice there would be grayish, yeah, this is screen that just came, when it was loading. So this thing, that's called a placeholder, like something like this, something that you uh show to people for loading like this. That's the actual card, but when the website is loading, it will show something like this. Now, why do we use it? That there's a really, really, really good reason behind it. And I would have to teach you guys about front end, back end before I can explain to you. So just give me some time, and then I'll explain. But yeah, this is a placeholder. That's mostly everything that you guys need to know about right now. I'll just quickly show you guys what's a CSS box model right now. Okay, so what's a CSS? I think I must have, yeah, there we go. So it's nothing more, nothing so complex. We have already talked about it. It's just a way of explaining what is a padding, what is a border, what is a margin, uh, all that stuff. We have already talked about padding and margin, right? So what's this CSX, like this CSS thing? CSS is like it's like a styling language that we use when we are coding websites. So you don't have to worry about it as well. But what is CSS? CSS is a styling language. Okay. Um, Yeah, let me show you a live example. Okay, so just see on the right side of the screen. Okay, see on the right side of the screen, I'll write some code, and I want you guys to just focus on what I'm displaying on the right side. Don't focus on the code that much. It's nothing to worry about. Okay. So what I'm saying is, okay, give me a box, but of height of, of some height and some width. Let's say, give me a box of some height and some width, which has color black. I see a black box here. Let me make it a bit smaller because it will otherwise be problematic. Yeah. Okay. So you guys see a black box, right? Now here's the thing. Now here's the thing. I want a text inside that box, so I'll just write Liba uh, BTS fan. Let's say. Okay. And I'm saying I want this text to be white, and I want this text to be of larger font size. Okay. Am I clear up till now? Am I clear here? Am I clear up till here? Nobody's, yeah, awesome. Okay. Now let's talk about what is padding, what is margin. Now remember one thing, margin, padding, and all that stuff is actually relative to the element we are talking about. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so if I say this black box, right? This black box, I want to add a margin to this black box. Margin is a type of spacing, but it's actually the outside of this whole box, right? Outside of the element we are talking about. So if I'm like, give me a margin in y-axis, like at top and bottom of 8. You guys see what happens is it gets spacing from the top of the screen, right? The black box is now 8 pixel under the screen. Am I right till here? Am I right till here? Right? This is a padding. Oh, this is a margin. Sorry, right? It's a margin at y. And if I'm like, okay, give me a margin on x-axis now of 12, the box moves a bit, to the right. Okay, because it has a margin of 12 size on left and right. You cannot actually see the right one or at the bottom one because it already is like a white space or clear space, so it doesn't actually show you anything. But yeah, it's there as well. Anyways, now I'm like, okay, this is good, margin is good, but now give me padding in y-axis, which is this vertical thing of 8 pixel. Now see what happened. This Liba BTS fan font that I had moved downwards because I gave a spacing of 8 pixel on the top and on the bottom, right? If I remove it, it's back at the top again. But if I give it give the padding again, it's at downwards. Now if I'm like, give me a padding on the x-axis or of 12 side, it again moves here a bit, right? If I remove it, it moves back. If I add it, it moves back, right? So are you guys clear here about what's padding and what's margin? Please tell me quickly what's padding and what's margin. Yeah, but now I want you guys to understand one thing that's really cool. I'm going to remove all these padding and margins, and I'm going to go on this text element now. Now, previously what I was doing, I was adding these margins and paddings to the box, to the black box. Now what happens if I add a margin to the text, not on the box, but to the text? What do you guys think what will happen? Like if I give a padding on the y-axis, like if I give margin on the y-axis of 8 pixel to the text, not to the box, text will move down, right? So if I give this 8, oh, sorry, if I give this, wait a second. See, okay, give me a second. It's being problematic for a reason. Give me another, uh, okay. Yeah, here we go. Now, if I add another text inside the box, and then I'm like, okay, give a margin of 8 to the Liba BTS fan text. Now it's, it makes the Liba BTS fan thing go down. But why wasn't it going, the text only going down when I remove this thing? Why is the box moving down again? Even when I'm putting the margin in the in on the text. That's because this whole margin thing is relative to the elements, right? Now, this text doesn't have any another element with it, right? Like there's no another text, no another element, no another graphic, no other shape, anything. It's just a text. So what it's doing is it's saying, okay, I'm relative to the whole screen. So I'll just, give margin in according to the whole screen. That's why it just moved the whole box down. But if I add another element like I showed, then it just makes the then it just makes the Liber BTS fan thing go down. Okay. Hmm. Can you guys tell me if I was clear here, up till here? Do not focus much like what did I code and everything. You guys don't have to code anything. But yeah, this is what coding sort of look like, and this is what CSS box model was. Anyway, so let me see. Time's nearly up, so I won't take any more time from you guys. You guys must be tired now. Yeah, so I'll cover what's a wireframe and what is front end, back end on this on the in the next class, and what's taking inspiration from them. Yeah, and accessibility and SVG thing. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So yeah, I won't take any more time now. Thank you so much for attending today's session. I hope you guys learned a lot. And it didn't went super boring. Was it boring, Lava?
No, it was not. I actually enjoyed it because there were a few things that I personally didn't know myself. So it was
Okay.
fun. I was like in the comments, I was like, yes, typing speed 1000. It
Okay, awesome.
was fun. It was
Uh,
fun.
what do you guys think? Do you guys understood everything? Anyways, if you guys have any questions for me, you guys can stay and ask me in the in the chat. If you guys have if you guys don't have any question, you guys can you are free to leave.
Thank you everyone for being here today. Tomorrow we're gonna be learning Figma, so that would be fun.
Mm, Figma, yeah, applied Figma,
Finally.
finally.
Finally. Thank you guys. Thank you for
Thank you,
coming.
everybody. Bye
Asher,
bye.
drink some water. Drink water.
I will actually. I'm surprised how I'm speaking from so long.
Mm-hmm. I was like, मैंने comment भी किया था. I was like, Asher, take some rest, drink water. Oh my
Okay, so I'll
God,
end the
5 beauty
recording
cream.
so we do not get leaked. Thank you guys. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you guys. Bye bye.